Imagine waking up tomorrow morning expecting the sun to rise, but it never does. The clock ticks past 6 a.m., then 7, then noon, and yet the sky remains pitch black. The world outside your window is still unnaturally cold, and the air feels thick, like the earth itself is holding its breath. You check the news, but there's nothing, no explanation, no answers, just silence. This isn't a movie or a science fiction tale. This is a warning whispered through the ages, from ancient civilizations to modern-day prophets. For centuries, they've spoken of 3 days of darkness, a time when the sun refuses to rise, and the world is plunged into a profound, eerie stillness. But here's the terrifying truth: it's not a myth. It's a prophecy that's closer to becoming reality than we might think. Edgar Cayce, the famous sleeping prophet, saw it coming. He spoke of the sun's mysterious behavior, how solar flares and sunspots are linked to the collective consciousness of humanity. He believed the chaos in our world, the anger, the wars, the fear creates friction that affects the sun itself. And now, in 2025, we're seeing the signs. The sun is waking up, and with it, a new chapter in human history. What will happen when the light goes out? When the technology we rely on fails and the world is silent? Will we be ready to face the darkness? More importantly, will we be ready to face ourselves? This isn't just about the physical darkness. It's about the spiritual transformation that comes with it. The 3 days of darkness aren't a punishment. It's a catalyst. It's an opportunity for us to evolve, to reconnect with the divine, and to awaken to a higher state of consciousness. So, stay with me, because in the next few minutes, we're going to dive deep into what this prophecy means for our future, how it ties into the world we live in today, and how you can prepare not just physically, but spiritually for the greatest transformation of our time. Imagine a world where the sun refuses to rise. Not just a momentary eclipse, not the dark of a stormy night, but a darkness so profound, so absolute, that it consumes every corner of the earth. Picture waking up one morning, expecting the warmth of daylight to greet you, but instead, the sky remains as dark as the deepest night. Time passes, the clock ticks, but the light does not come. No sunrise, no light, just an endless, unbroken darkness. It's hard to imagine, isn't it? A world without the sun, without light. And yet, this isn't just some dystopian scenario. For centuries, civilizations from the ancient Mayans to the early Christians have whispered about a time when this very thing will happen, a time when the sun will be hidden, when the earth will be shrouded in complete darkness for 3 whole days. These aren't just stories, these are prophecies, predictions handed down through generations. And as we stand at the crossroads of history, it seems that this ancient prophecy is closer to reality than we think. Edgar Cayce, the famous sleeping prophet, spoke of this very darkness. He saw it in visions and gave us signs to watch for. According to Cayce, this darkness would not be an ordinary event. It would be a sign of something greater, a transformation in the very fabric of our world. He believed that the sun, as a conscious entity, responds to the collective energy of humanity. Our anger, our fears, and our chaos reach out across the universe, and the sun, like a mirror, reflects that to us. What if we are already beginning to see the signs of that reflection? In the next few moments, we'll explore what this darkness means, why it's happening, and how it connects to everything happening in our world today. But more importantly, we'll look at what this prophecy means for you and me. The darkness isn't just about what happens in the physical world, it's about what happens inside of us. It's about a profound spiritual shift, a chance for us to evolve, to reconnect with the divine, and to awaken to a higher level of consciousness. As we dive deeper into the heart of this prophecy, remember, the darkness is not the end. It's just the beginning, and it may be the greatest gift we've ever received. As we step further into this mystery, it's important to understand that this prophecy isn't just something new, something we're hearing about for the first time today. No, the idea of 3 days of darkness has echoed through the corridors of ancient civilizations. These cultures, separated by oceans and continents, spoke of this very event, each in their own way, yet their words echo the same truth. The Mayans, known for their deep spiritual insight and understanding of time, spoke of a great transition, a shift that would bring the world into a new age. They believed that darkness would fall upon the earth before the light of a new era could rise. The Hopi people, too, foretold of a time when the world would be enveloped in darkness, not just a physical darkness, but a spiritual one that would test the hearts of mankind. They warned that only those who were pure in heart, those who lived in harmony with the earth and the Creator, would survive the trials ahead. The ancient Egyptians, with their vast knowledge of the heavens, also spoke of a time of cosmic darkness. They saw the sun as a divine force, a life-giving source, but even they acknowledged that there would come a time when the sun would retreat, not forever, but long enough to reset the natural order. And then, of course, we come to the early Christians, who in the Gospels speak of a time of tribulation, a time of great darkness before the return of the light, the coming of Christ. It's not just a physical darkness. It's a time of spiritual testing, a period where humanity must face its own inner turmoil. What's fascinating is that despite the vast differences in these ancient cultures, the story remains the same. They all spoke of this darkness as a moment of reckoning, a time when the world would stop and humanity would be forced to confront what is truly important. And here we are, on the brink of 2026, seeing signs that this prophecy may be coming to pass. The signs are all around us. The increase in solar activity, the strange behavior of the sun, and the rise in global tensions. It's almost as if the universe is setting the stage for the fulfillment of these ancient prophecies. But these prophecies don't just warn us of something terrible. They offer a glimpse of hope, of renewal. They tell us that after the darkness, there will be a new dawn, a new age, a new beginning, and that's the promise we must hold on to. Just as the ancients believed, so too can we trust that this period of darkness will lead us to the light. It is in the shadow where we grow. It is through the darkness that we are prepared for the light to come. As we move forward in understanding the coming darkness, there's one name that stands out, a name that has captivated the minds of those seeking answers to the mysteries of the universe, Edgar Cayce. Known as the sleeping prophet, Cayce's insights were nothing short of extraordinary. For over 40 years, while in a trance-like state, Cayce provided thousands of readings on a wide array of subjects, from health and healing to the future of mankind. But what truly sets Cayce apart is his vision of the future, a future that mirrors what many ancient cultures have spoken about for centuries. He was one of the few who not only saw the coming darkness but understood the deeper spiritual significance of it. In his readings, Cayce often spoke of cosmic events, solar flares, sunspots, and the role they play in the unfolding of human history. But it wasn't just the physical events that he predicted. Cayce had a deep understanding of the spiritual forces at work in the universe, and he saw how our collective consciousness, our collective energy, interacts with the sun itself. According to Cayce, the sun is not just a burning ball of gas in the sky. No, the sun is a conscious entity, a divine force that responds to the energy we send out into the world. When humanity is in turmoil, when we are filled with anger, fear, and hatred, the sun reacts. He explained that sunspots, those dark spots on the sun's surface, aren't just random phenomena. They are the sun's way of reflecting the chaos in our hearts and minds. And as we've seen over the past few decades, the sun's activity has been increasing. Cayce warned that this was a sign that we were heading into a period of great upheaval. As the sun becomes more active, the earth is affected, not just physically but spiritually. He believed that the intense solar activity would trigger a shift in the Earth's magnetic field, causing disruptions not just in our technology but in our very existence. But here's the key point. Cayce didn't see this as something to fear. No, he saw it as an opportunity. He saw the coming darkness as a catalyst for transformation. In the depths of this cosmic event, Cayce believed humanity would undergo a spiritual awakening. It would be a time of great challenge, yes, but also a time of profound growth. This was not a punishment, this was a divine plan to bring about a new era for humanity, an era where we would be forced to reconnect with our true selves, our divine purpose. So, as we look at the signs unfolding in our world today, the increase in solar flares, the rise in global tensions, the turmoil in our hearts, we must remember Cayce's words. We are not victims of this darkness, we are participants in it, and through it, we will be transformed. The question is, will we be ready? Will we be prepared to face the challenges ahead, not just with fear, but with hope? Because, as Cayce knew, after the darkness, the light will come. It always does. And when it does, we will emerge stronger, wiser, and more connected to the divine than ever before. Now, let's take a deeper look at the science behind the sun's behavior and how it all ties together. What exactly is happening in our universe, and how is it linked to the spiritual shift that Cayce foresaw? Now that we've laid the foundation of what the ancient prophecies have foretold, and the profound insights given by Edgar Cayce, it's time to understand the science behind these cosmic events, the solar flares and magnetic fields that have such a significant impact on our world. You see, the sun is not just a distant star in the sky, it is the very heartbeat of our solar system. It provides the warmth and energy that sustain life on Earth, yet it also has the power to disrupt everything we know. One of the most powerful manifestations of the sun's energy is solar flares. These are violent bursts of radiation that erupt from the sun's surface, releasing an enormous amount of energy into space. When they happen, they send shock waves of charged particles hurtling toward the Earth. Now, these solar flares can be powerful enough to interfere with our satellite communications, navigation systems, and even power grids. But there's more. Solar flares are not random occurrences. They're linked to something called sunspots, dark, cooler areas on the surface of the sun that indicate areas of intense magnetic activity. And this is where things get interesting. The sun's magnetic fields are not static. They change and fluctuate, creating cycles of activity that can span years, even decades. As the sun enters periods of higher activity, the number of sunspots increases, and with them, the likelihood of solar flares. The sun goes through an approximately 11-year cycle called the solar cycle, during which the sun's magnetic fields flip, meaning the magnetic north and south poles of the sun switch places. But in the current solar cycle, something unusual is happening. Scientists have observed that the sun is more active than predicted, with solar flares becoming stronger and more frequent. It's almost as if the sun is waking up, becoming more volatile, more unpredictable, and that's where the real danger lies. You see, these solar flares are not just a threat to our technology. They can also have profound effects on the Earth's magnetic field. Our planet is surrounded by a protective magnetic shield that helps deflect harmful solar radiation. But as the sun's activity increases, it puts more pressure on this protective field. If the magnetic shield weakens, it could leave the Earth exposed to the full force of solar radiation. This is where the science begins to intersect with the spiritual warnings we've discussed. The Earth's magnetic field isn't just a physical barrier, it's also linked to our consciousness, to our very being. When the magnetic shield weakens, the protection it provides in terms of our energetic and spiritual realms is also compromised. In fact, many believe this weakening could trigger profound shifts, not just in the physical world, but also in our spiritual and emotional states. It's as though the veil that separates us from the unseen realms, the spiritual realms, becomes thinner, allowing more of those energies to interact with our world. And that, my friends, is why we must pay attention to what's happening in our skies. The solar flares, the sunspots, and the shifting magnetic fields are not just scientific phenomena. They are signs that something greater is at play. We are standing on the edge of a transformation, not just of our world, but of our consciousness. The question is, will we be ready? Will we be prepared to navigate the spiritual and physical changes that are coming? As we continue, let's take a closer look at how these solar phenomena could lead to the event we've been talking about, the 3 days of darkness. How does this cosmic disruption tie into the prophecy? And what can we expect to happen next? As we continue to explore the cosmic events that are unfolding, let's take a moment to look back in history to a moment that serves as a powerful warning for us today. It's a moment that, at the time, seemed like a strange and isolated event, but in hindsight, we see it as a harbinger of what could lie ahead. I'm talking about the Carrington event of 1859. Now, imagine this. The year is 1859, and the world is vastly different from what we know today. There's no internet, no satellites, no global communication systems, but one thing remains the same: the sun, that great source of light and energy. On the 1st of September, 1859, a massive solar flare erupted from the sun, sending a wave of charged particles hurtling toward Earth. When those particles reached us, they unleashed a force so powerful that it caused telegraph systems, the cutting-edge technology of the time, to fail. In some places, telegraph operators were thrown across the room by the force of the electrical charge. Telegraph papers caught fire, and the aurora borealis, or northern lights, was visible as far south as the Caribbean. It was as if the sky itself was on fire. The event, which came to be known as the Carrington event, was the largest solar storm ever recorded. But here's the key. In 1859, we didn't have the technology we have today. The telegraph systems were affected, but they were the extent of our technological infrastructure. Now, fast forward to today, a time when our world is more interconnected than ever. Our entire society runs on electricity and digital technology. From our banking systems to our healthcare systems, from the internet to communication networks, almost every part of our lives depends on a delicate web of technology that is vulnerable to the kind of solar activity that occurred during the Carrington event. If such an event were to strike today, the consequences would be catastrophic. Power grids could be knocked out, satellites could be disabled, and communication systems could collapse. We could find ourselves thrown back into the Stone Age in the blink of an eye. The question is, what would we do? How would we survive in a world where our technology, our lifelines, were suddenly gone? And more importantly, how do we prepare for such an event? The Carrington event serves as a reminder of how vulnerable we truly are to the power of the sun. It also serves as a warning that we are living in a time where such an event is not just a historical footnote, but a very real possibility. As the sun enters its solar maximum in the coming years, we could face a repeat of the Carrington event, but with far more devastating consequences. But remember, this isn't just a warning about technology. It's a warning about the fragility of our modern world. It's a call to reflect on how reliant we've become on technology and how unprepared we are for a world without it. As we move forward, it's important that we understand the lessons of the past. The Carrington event was a wake-up call. It was nature's way of reminding us of the power that exists beyond our control. And it's a reminder that while we may have advanced in technology, we are still at the mercy of the natural forces that govern our world. So, what can we do to prepare for the next Carrington event or any other cosmic disruption that might come our way? How can we strengthen our resilience, both physically and spiritually, to face the challenges ahead? Let's dive deeper into this question as we explore the science behind these solar events and what it means for us in the years to come. Imagine for a moment that the lights go out not just for a few minutes, not just for an hour, but for days. Imagine a world where the hum of electricity, the buzz of communication, and the convenience of modern life simply cease to exist. The internet, that lifeline we depend on for news, connection, and entertainment, goes dark. The power grid shuts down. No more phones, no more computers, no more running water. The world as we know it, the world built on the steady pulse of electricity, grinds to a halt. It's not just the physical disruption, it's the psychological impact. Our minds are wired for connection, for information, for light. And when that light goes out, when that connection is severed, we are left in the dark, not just literally, but figuratively. What happens to a society when its systems collapse? What happens to us when the things we rely on for safety, comfort, and survival suddenly fail us? We've seen glimpses of this in small-scale power outages, haven't we? A few hours without power during a storm, and suddenly it feels like the world is falling apart. People rush to stores, panic sets in, and normal life seems to unravel. Now, imagine that on a global scale. Imagine a full-scale collapse, no lights, no phones, no internet, no communication, and no certainty. It's hard to even comprehend, yet it's not out of the realm of possibility. A massive solar flare, like the Carrington event, could knock out power grids worldwide, leaving us stranded in the dark. And the effects wouldn't be limited to just a loss of light. Our financial systems, our healthcare systems, our transportation, they all rely on the fragile network of satellites, communication lines, and electrical infrastructure. When that network is disrupted, chaos ensues. People will struggle to survive, to find food and water, to stay warm. But what's more, they will struggle emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Without the distractions of our modern conveniences, we will be forced to confront what truly matters. And in those moments, when the light is gone, we will be left to ask ourselves, who are we? What do we truly believe in? What is our purpose in the midst of this? The collapse of modern civilization is not just about technology or infrastructure, it's about our values, our resilience, and our faith. What we depend on now, what we rely on for comfort and security, will not always be there. But there is good news in this darkness. Just as the sun rises after every night, we too can rise to rebuild and to transform. It is in moments of crisis that our true strength is revealed. It is when the lights go out that we discover what truly lights our way. So, how do we prepare for this? How do we find hope when the world seems to be falling apart? The answer is simpler than we think. It's about turning inward, finding the light within, and trusting that even in the darkest of times, we are not alone. And as we move forward, let's take a closer look at how we can prepare, not just physically, but spiritually, for the collapse of modern civilization. How do we keep our faith, our hope, and our strength when everything around us seems to be crumbling? As we've talked about, the darkness that is coming, the solar flares, the magnetic shifts, the collapse of modern systems, it's not just a physical event. It's not just about power outages and empty streets. This darkness carries a deeper spiritual meaning, one that reaches beyond the material world and touches the very core of who we are. You see, the 3 days of darkness isn't just a warning about the fragility of our modern systems. It's a divine invitation. It's an invitation to look inward, to confront what lies hidden in our hearts and minds. When the lights go out, when all distractions are stripped away, we are left with only ourselves and with God. In the ancient scriptures, darkness has always had a significant spiritual meaning. It is not just the absence of light, but a time of purification, of reflection, and of transformation. When God created the world, it began in darkness. In Genesis we read, "And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. But from that darkness God brought forth light." The darkness was the canvas upon which the divine created order, beauty, and life. Similarly, in our own lives, darkness can serve as the backdrop for transformation. It is in the dark times, the moments of trial, the moments when we feel lost or disconnected, that God does His deepest work in us. This is why the darkness that's coming is not a punishment, but a divine opportunity. It's a chance to face the things within us that we've ignored or hidden away. It's a chance to let go of the things that no longer serve us, the fears, the anger, the pride, the distractions. When the light is gone, when the world seems to be falling apart, we will have no choice but to turn to the light within. This is the time to remember that we carry the light of God in us, and that light, though it may seem dim at times, can shine brighter than the sun itself. In this darkness, we are invited to discover the true source of our strength. It is not found in technology, not in our possessions, not in our achievements. It is found in our connection with God, in our ability to trust Him, to rely on His love, and to open ourselves to His guidance. And it's in this darkness that we will be forced to confront the spiritual realities that we often push aside in our busy lives. Without the distractions of modern living, we will see the truth of our hearts more clearly than ever before. For some, this darkness will be a time of fear and confusion as they encounter their own shadows, their unresolved anger, their bitterness, their doubts. But for those who have prepared their hearts, those who have cultivated peace within, this darkness will be a sanctuary. It will be a time of deep rest, of quiet reflection, and of intimate communion with God. And this is where the true transformation happens. It's in the stillness, in the silence, that we come to understand who we really are and who God has called us to be. The darkness is not just an end, it is a beginning, a new chapter in our spiritual journey. Just as the earth was formed in the darkness, so too can we be formed and shaped into something new in this time of cosmic stillness. It is in this darkness that we will experience the deepest awakening, a renewal of our faith and our spirit. So as we face the days ahead, let's not fear the darkness. Let's embrace it, knowing that through it we will emerge stronger, wiser, and more deeply connected to God than ever before. And as we move forward, let's explore what happens when the veil between the physical world and the spiritual world begins to thin, and how this cosmic darkness will awaken something deep within us. As we continue to journey through this profound moment of cosmic transformation, we come to one of the most intriguing aspects of the human experience, the pineal gland. Now, you might be wondering, what does the pineal gland have to do with the darkness? Well, let me tell you, it has everything to do with it. The pineal gland, often called the third eye, is a small, pea-sized gland located deep within the brain. It's been the subject of fascination for centuries, revered in many spiritual traditions as the seat of higher consciousness and spiritual insight. But in our modern world, the pineal gland is often overlooked. We live in a time when we're constantly bombarded with artificial light from our phones, from our computers, from our TVs, and this light, this constant stimulation has led to a kind of spiritual blindness. We've become so focused on the external world that we've lost touch with the divine light that resides within us. But what happens when all of that is taken away? What happens when the artificial light goes out and we're left with nothing but darkness? It's in that darkness, my friends, that the pineal gland can truly awaken. The darkness is not just the absence of light. It's an opportunity for transformation. When the external world fades away, when the noise of modern life is silenced, the pineal gland can begin to function as it was intended to. You see, when we are exposed to darkness, the pineal gland produces melatonin, a hormone that regulates our sleep and wake cycles. But here's the incredible part. After 24 hours of darkness, something amazing happens. The brain begins to convert melatonin into a substance called pineoline. After 48 hours, it starts to produce DMT, the so-called spirit molecule. This is the same molecule that many believe is responsible for mystical experiences, for visions, and for the heightened states of consciousness that we hear about in spiritual texts. In short, the pineal gland, when activated by darkness, can open the door to higher consciousness, to a deeper connection with the divine, and to a more profound understanding of our true nature. This is why, throughout history, spiritual seekers have gone on darkness retreats, spending time in complete darkness to activate the pineal gland and experience these heightened states of awareness. The ancient Egyptians knew this. The Tibetan monks knew this. They understood that true enlightenment comes not from external light, but from the light within. And it's in the darkness that we can reconnect with that light. So, as the days of darkness approach, don't be afraid. Embrace it as an opportunity. This isn't just about survival in the physical sense. This is about awakening in a way we've never experienced before. The pineal gland is waiting to be activated. Your higher consciousness is waiting to be unlocked. And in those 72 hours of cosmic stillness, you will be given the chance to connect with your true self, to tap into the divine wisdom that resides within you, and to awaken to a higher level of awareness. This darkness is not something to fear, it is something to welcome, because it holds the key to your spiritual transformation. And as we step into this new reality, let's continue to explore how these changes will impact our world, how they will change us, and how we can prepare for the profound awakening that awaits us all. As we move forward, the question naturally arises: how do we prepare for the 3 days of darkness? This is not just about gathering supplies or bracing ourselves for the worst. No, the true preparation is far deeper than that. It's about preparing ourselves spiritually, mentally, and emotionally for the profound transformation that is coming. First, let's talk about the physical preparation. Yes, it's important to have the basics: food, water, and warmth. You'll want to make sure that you have non-perishable food that doesn't require cooking, a good supply of water, and blankets or warm clothing to help you stay comfortable during the cold that may accompany the darkness. And while it may seem like a small thing, having candles or flashlights on hand will be essential to navigate through those first few days. But here's where the real preparation begins. As we've discussed, the darkness isn't just a physical event, it's a spiritual one. The first thing we must do is clear our minds and hearts of the clutter that distracts us from the truth. The world is so full of noise, so full of constant stimulation, that we often lose touch with what truly matters. When the lights go out, we will be left with only ourselves, our thoughts, and the reality of our spiritual state. So, the first step in preparation is to take time now before the darkness comes to quiet our minds, to turn off the noise, to meditate, to pray, and to reflect on what truly matters in our lives. This is a time to forgive, to let go of past hurts, and to make peace with the things that weigh heavily on our hearts. Forgiveness is key because when the darkness comes, it will force us to confront the things we've been avoiding, our fears, our doubts, our regrets. But by releasing those things now, we make room for the light that will eventually come. The second step in preparation is to strengthen our spiritual connection. When the lights go out, the most important thing we will have is our relationship with God. And in these moments, we must be ready to rely on that connection like never before. Spend time nurturing your relationship with God now through prayer, worship, and meditation. Seek His presence and allow Him to prepare your heart for what is to come. If you are uncertain about your faith or your connection to God, take this time to explore that relationship. The darkness is not meant to bring fear, it's meant to bring clarity. It will strip away the distractions and force us to look at our true selves, and when we do, we'll realize that we are never truly alone. God is with us, even in the darkest of times. The third preparation is about creating a sanctuary for yourself and your loved ones. As the darkness settles in, it's important that your home becomes a place of peace, a place of light in the midst of the chaos. This is not just about physical safety. It's about creating a space where you can center yourself spiritually. Fill your home with positive energy through prayer, through scripture, through music that brings peace to your soul. Gather your family together and remind them that this is a time of transformation, not a time to fear. Share your hope with them. Let them know that while the world may be dark, we are the light that shines through the darkness. Finally, and most importantly, we must prepare our hearts to remain in peace no matter what happens. This darkness is not the end. It is the beginning of something new. In the stillness, in the silence, we will hear God's voice more clearly than ever before. And through this time, we will grow in ways we never imagined. So, as we prepare physically for the coming days, let's also prepare spiritually. Let's take this time to quiet our hearts, to forgive, to reconnect with God, and to create a sanctuary of peace in our homes. The darkness will come, but it will not last forever. And when the light returns, we will be stronger, wiser, and more connected to the divine than ever before. So, let's step into this time with faith, with hope, and with the assurance that we are not alone. The transformation is coming, and we are ready for it. Now, as we prepare for what lies ahead, let's take a closer look at the deeper spiritual awakening that will occur during these 3 days of darkness and how we can fully embrace the light that comes after. As we come to the end of this journey, I want to remind you of something incredibly important. The darkness is not the end. It is, in fact, the beginning of something new. When the sun sets, when the world grows still and silent, it's easy to become afraid, to lose hope, to wonder if we will ever see the light again. But let me tell you, the darkness is not here to destroy us, it is here to transform us. It's in the darkness that we will be forced to look deep within ourselves and face the parts of us that we've been avoiding. It's in the silence that we will hear God's voice more clearly, guiding us, comforting us, and calling us to a higher purpose. When the light returns, and it will, we will emerge stronger, wiser, and more connected to our true selves than ever before. This is not just about surviving the darkness, it's about thriving in it. It's about embracing the transformation that comes with it. As we prepare for the changes that are coming, I want you to remember this: you are not alone. You have a source of light within you, a divine spark that cannot be extinguished. And when the world grows dark, that light will shine brighter than ever. So, let's embrace this new beginning with open hearts. Let's take this time to strengthen our faith, to deepen our connection with God, and to prepare ourselves for the profound transformation that is about to unfold. The days of darkness are not something to fear. They are a gift, a chance to let go of the old and step into the new. So as we face the future, let's do so with hope, with courage, and with the assurance that after the darkness, the light will return and we will be ready to walk in it. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Stay prepared, stay faithful, and remember, the new beginning is already here.